Howdy everybody, back working on Marvel's Macabre Man Thing. As you can see, I've come a long way since the last time I was videoing. I just was having trouble with the camera and just needed to keep going. Want to try to have this thing done by the end of the month. You can see I'm starting to lay in those shoulder blades on the back. Got into some mushroom, perhaps magic mushrooms, on Man-Thing's arm. Did the other arm over here, where I kind of put some of those toadstools that kind of grow on the edges of trees. Put those on the other arm, which I thought might be cool. Kind of break it up a little bit, be a little different. Let's see if we can get that in there. This arm gives me a little trouble. It's a little hard to line up. Come on, baby. There we go. Yeah, so there he is, both arms attached. Looking pretty cool. You can see I got a lot of the detail up here with the skull growing into the roots. You can see these roots are still kind of raw right here, where I just kind of basically just roll a little clay into these little worms. And then I give them a little bit of a twist because it gives the noodle or the worm a little bit of character. Looks like a twisting, winding root. And then I kind of lay that over the top of the detail. I'm trying to be strategic because I'm really trying to match what's going on in my drawing, because I love the flow of the roots, how they all kind of seem to flow in toward the head, which is kind of the object of the design, was to kind of show that everything's centered on his, through his brain, that all the roots and everything are growing to this central point of his anatomy. So I'll continue to do that. You can see that I lay them in really kind of right over the surface of the root or the rib cage. And then I have to go back in, real tedious process. Go in, I kind of work at these with my tool, slowly kind of blending them in with the rib cage. So they all become part of the same sculpture. You can see I've done that all over here. These roots are still somewhat rough. And you'll see that to get this kind of twisting, winding effect, I will take, various tools. Maybe I'll grab this one over here. Got this awesome little kind of wedge-shaped scoop. I will kind of move that around. I want to continue to maintain that kind of twist and wind that roots have as they grow. Certain specific types of roots, you can see I'm doing it here, where I want that bark or the surface of the root to look like it's kind of got some life to it and it's been growing in a specific winding manner. And then once I get all these roots kind of laid in here and blended, I will again go back in and work on my rib cage, because I want them to read as different types of matter. Like, they are bones and roots are plants, and they should look different and be treated different in the sculpt. So you'll see how smooth these roots, these ribs down, but then I will go back in and do this rough bark texture on the roots. But I'll continue to do that. You can see I've got this arm kind of blocked in here. I'm leaving this tibia and the ulna. I've got that split in there. I think it could be manufactured. It's not quite anatomically correct. I'm taking some liberties here, where when an arm actually turns, these bones cross over each other. But I figure this is Man-Thing. He's kind of an unnatural creature of fantasy. I really want to get that split in there, but I wanted the hands in a certain way. So I kind of pushed the anatomy a little bit into the unnatural zone, but I think it's going to work. I think it's already looking pretty cool. So once again, I've got these roots started up here on the arm. I could show you these. I get these from Monster Makers, which is a local company. Monster Makers is online. Just punch in Google Monster Makers, and they have all kinds of supplies and tools and clays. And they make monster clay as well. And I get these little, I think these are like silicone texture stamps, and I use these a lot. I try not to use them verbatim. I mean, just press them in and then done with it. I actually will use them to get myself in the direction of a specific texture of skin. You can see I roll it on here. You get that really cool texture, but then I will go in and kind of follow its lead and continue to kind of work it so it's not that texture exactly the way it is on the stamp. Because anyone that uses that stamp is going to get it. It's always going to look the same, but I always want my stuff to look a little bit more unique. So, like I said, I will sit there and work at it so there's like some real deep divots. Sometimes I will even create some wrinkles within these divots. So you get even a different texture, but you know, those texture stamps kind of get me moving in a specific direction, and then I kind of take it from there. See? And once this is all textured up, I will actually go in and start to lay my vein work on the arms as well. I lay it down, and then I will once again continue to blend it in. I'll lose a little bit of my texture in places, but I just go back and re-sculpt it. And you can see this is tedious. This takes a long time. I've done it up here. I've done it down here. I'll probably be working on this the rest of the day, but you can see I've got these hands kind of blocked out, kind of trying to figure out where I got these big thorny growths on his hand knuckles. I kind of figure that he might grow those. Those might grow whenever he needs to battle something or fight another creature or as weapons. So I kind of like that detail. They're going to be some of them up on the vines too once I get these vines a little bit more laid in here. I decided some of these vines stick off from the body and have these voids between them. You know, that would be just so expensive to manufacture. I decided to just try to give the veins roots a little bit more areas where they kind of protrude from the body to kind of compensate for that, kind of get the same effect. You can see I did it up here, where I think having those sticking out from the body too much, they would have to be a separate part. It just would get so expensive. So hopefully it's going to look as cool as it does in the sketch as I keep going. But you can see he's coming along nicely. Big thick arm and shoulder there. Kind of blocking out these shoulder blades. I'm always grabbing these reference books. Got these shoulder blade bones in here. There you go. You can see I'm using these as reference. Pretty, you know, I take some liberties here and there, but I want to have those basic shapes as something that's kind of recognizable as I'm working. So I have a couple anatomy books here. Sometimes I print out a ton of stuff as reference. I got my reference board back here behind me with all the reference material that I've printed out so far. I could probably print out some more. Because it's all about the reference to inspire these range of textures and stuff. So you can see I've started shaping these kind of with my thumb, my fingers at first, but then we'll start to shave away at them. I will eventually even, another thing I use as texture stamps from time to time is I actually go out and get, you know, different types of rocks, believe it or not. You know, sometimes you can get some nice bone textures by just pressing. Look at that. Just in areas. Once again, sometimes it's just to get me going in the right direction. You get some of this. Kind of have to walk around outside until I find just the right rocks, just the right texture. A lot of times I have the bone a lot more figured out before I start doing this. And the other thing is, it's a trick to pressing it in to get your detail without losing all these nice shapes that I've created. And I'll go in, and bones have little cracks and grooves. Those areas of imperfections, I kind of maybe see a little bit of the marrow. I'm probably putting this detail in the wrong spot, but I just wanted to show you before I kind of nail it. I would check my reference and see where this detail actually appears. And then this kind of, I'm going to have this lower area slowly kind of disappears into the body. As you can see, I'm starting to get some kind of cool kind of bone detail in here. Once again, I'd be checking my reference a little closer than I am right now, but I'm kind of doing this just to kind of show you how I might do it. I'm not going to lay this bone texture. I've done that in the past, the bone texture over the entire shoulder blade. I'll just do it in select spots, because for the most part, bones they have smooth open areas of no detail, and then all of a sudden they have these areas where, like I said, you might actually see different, like almost that honeycomb marrow, bone marrow look to things. See that? Almost there. I mean, it's not quite what I want. I still want to, I think I've lost a little bit of the shape to my shoulder blade a little bit while I'm showing you detail, but you know, it's more to accomplish the educational aspect, which is showing you how I might make bone detail. All right, kind of see that? Like just for fun. Still got a little Sculpey oil on here. See, once I've got that kind of bone texture in there, once I smooth it down, it starts to look a little bit more what I'm trying to accomplish. Some bones. And you can see here I'm working on my spinal column where I've pressed in my shapes. The spinal column, which will disappear once it gets down into here, becomes more of like a root. But here are some finished spinal columns where I kind of went into a lot more like bone detail on those. The ones in the back will also end up with some detail like that as well. Rib cage kind of coming together here in the front. Still got to get a little bit more here, but this will also have roots that are all growing toward that central area of the head, so everything kind of brings your eye in to this Vichyssoise face of the heroic but macabre man thing. So yeah, I'm gonna keep going on this. I feel like I'm a little behind trying to get it done end of the month, so I'm gonna get back to work, and once I start getting into more of the detailing of the legs and everything, I'll come back on continue to kind of show you some tricks and tips. Okie doke. Thanks.